All right. Asanio, is that how you pronounce it?
It's Ascanio. It's Ascanio,
Ascanio,
but
great.
it's good enough. Don't worry.
Right.
Thank you very much for hosting us. It's
Thank
a
you
real
for being
pleasure.
here. Absolutely.
So we wanted to ask you about this. We saw some very good addings to the archives lines and nicely renewed action figures with a major quality on the shapings and sculpts. And so we were curious to ask and to know, in future, this line will have more or maybe the same importance of the already well-known Black Series that already gave us a lot of big joys?
Awesome. That's a good question. And I'll get Ascanio right by the end of the session for sure.
Thank you. No, you already got it.
There we go. We love the archive. It's definitely not kind of the Black Series. Just like in vintage, the specialty waves aren't nearly as important as our mainline waves. It's great to get those figures out for fans who didn't get them the first time. And certainly it's something we put a lot of time into, but I would say, definitely without a doubt, our major focus is on the mainline Black Series.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Ascanio, back to you.
Thanks. So we were talking about the distribution, and I have a question about it. At the moment, we are surely talking about the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, but not about specifically Europe and maybe Italy. So we would like to know if there are some hopes about finding better and more effective ways for collectors to reach the products, or if there will still be the need to aim for important, pieces, therefore making the whole process more expensive and difficult. So we would like to know if there will be an improvement on this point of view.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely not our goal. I've shared in the past before the pandemic, we went out to Europe every year and had a fan summit with all of our regions. And the whole point was improving things like this. Distribution's always at the top of the list. So, we were able to make some improvements kind of coming out of those conversations, have more kind of frequent conversations about getting the right product to the right places. We've continued to have those conversations virtually since the pandemic started, but yeah, I think that hope is always there, especially within Star Wars, but it's certainly never our goal to just say, this is the way it is, and that's kind of the best it's going to be. Again, our goal is to make sure that these products get to the fans that want them. That's good for the fans, it's good for Hasbro, and so we're continually working on ways to make that possible.
Thanks.
Ascanio.
So yeah, we were talking about Jabbas Palace and all these nice details. I wanted to ask specifically, we will see a further expansion of the mentioned room and maybe perhaps an enlargement of the area dedicated to the Rancor's pit. We will see something more about it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We didn't actually spend a ton of time down in the Rancor pit room. We just had kind of one scene this season. But I think what's going to be impactful for us is to continue to watch and see what Lucasfilm does with these locations and where they put the most action and where they bring the most figures together is always going to be what appeals to me for playset building. But I would say that probably there's a lot of opportunity for Tatooine in general. You've seen us return to this palace from our first release of the Jabbas Palace set, now into this new throne room set. And I think that honestly, there's a lot of opportunity in Tatooine to think about for the future.
Thanks.
Ascanio. Oh, I think you're on mute, Ascanio.
Thank you for reminding me that. So we wanted to know something more about the process, the creative process, how it starts. How you choose, for example, a playset, and mostly and specifically, which are the timings required in order to realizing one?
Thank you so much. This is a fun process, and I will share that I probably pitched actually 4 different playset locations before we landed on this final, and I'm always like, Patrick, what about this? So, but one of the things that I think about as I pick those locations is really just what were the scenes where the most impactful stories happened? Are these the moments in the areas where you just were riveted and at the edge of your seat and the action was happening? But also, was it a scene where more than 2 characters were interacting? Was there a group? Because for me, you can see I've got a dense shelf and I want a playset where I can bring lots of figures together versus just like a scene for one. So displayability, how many can I fit in the set? Also shelf fit. Actually, you'll find that the new playset is, I designed it with the depth to fit nicely on a shelf. So all of that type of display and collection and storytelling pulls into where I pick a playset location.
Thanks.
Ascanio.
Last but not least, are we going to see more vehicles, maybe massive ones too, And if yes, could you give us maybe just little anticipations or maybe some clues? I will give you my personal suggestions. I would love to see Nagasadao's meditation sphere, for example, or a Darifan class battleship, something coming from, the golden age of the Sith, expanded universe, good old times.
Love it. So vehicles is something that they're constantly coming up in our team's brainstorms, and there definitely were some fun new vehicles revealed in the show that we were definitely excited by. We don't have any announcements that we can make currently, but we're looking for ways that are the best to bring those to market and potential future opportunities for vehicles, because it is a huge part of Star Wars.